Hey guys, Cat7 here. Okay, it is Thursday, October 4th, 2018, and I want to thank you for visiting the Stonewall Research channel here on YouTube. Thank you very much. Please do subscribe if you're new to the channel, and if you're not and you're a subscriber and you watch my videos, please do hit the like button because that aids in the search when somebody's searching on a topic. The more likes, apparently, that enables, the videos to be put at the top of the search. Anyway, what you're just looking at was a picture of the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem there in the library here. I'm at the library today, and I continue looking at this book by C.W. Ceram, The First American. And my last video dealt with the elongated skull people of Snaketown in Arizona, and I continue to read in that chapter, and this title of this video is Survivors. And the reason why I'm saying that is because after I read to you what I found in this book, I'm leaving it up to you to determine for yourself what it's all about, but you figure out if there's a remote possibility that these people could have been survivors from a previous advanced civilization. These elongated skull people called the Hohokam, which is a Pika Indian word for them, for those who have vanished. Which, I don't know about you, but I find that extremely curious that they would give them that moniker, those who have vanished. According to the book here, the Hohokam lasted for about 1,000 years, and eventually they sort of just fizzled out. There was a peaceful invasion of the Anasazi from the north that came into their culture, but apparently they went living on with the Anasazi, so they didn't really vanish. But I just find it very curious that the Pika would give them that name, those who have quote-unquote vanished. Okay? I don't know about you, but that is extremely interesting to me. So anyway, I'm going to read to you what I found in this book. It's chapter 12, called Those Who Have Vanished. And I'm going to read to you a few things from here, and you tell me if it doesn't sound to you like these people were survivors of a more advanced civilization. Now, you can see any, modern-day dystopian Hollywood flick, and, any one of us, if the world was, reduced to rubble in a great cataclysm, basically all of us would be reduced to cavemen. And, after a few hundred years, maybe, we wouldn't have any clothes to, scavenge from Kmart's and Walmart's or whatever. They would be long gone and all that kind of stuff. So what could you really do with the world without all the modern equipment, needed to create all the stuff that we have? So anyway, let me read to you some of the stuff from this book here in chapter 12, about the Hohokam, those who have vanished, okay? So this is on page 171, and it's about mounds, okay? In among them lay curious mounds. They're talking about the dwellings themselves, which again were 7-story, 6-story, 5-story apartment complexes. And the first apartments, high-rise buildings, weren't built until the late 19th century in New York or something like that. And when they were built, people were like, what, they didn't understand it. But in any case, let me read to you. In among them lay curious mounds. When these were investigated, it turned out that the smaller ones especially were pure mounds of rubbish. This means that the neat Hohokam housewives did not simply throw their refuse out in front of the house, as most other prehistoric peoples did. But other mounds had obviously been built deliberately. The largest had a carefully designed platform more than 50 feet in diameter. The highest, mound number 29, exhibited stratigraphically the above-mentioned 7 phases of the culture, and in addition permitted the first dating. For in the stratum of the 5th phase, the scientists found pottery they were already familiar with. This type of pottery came from the northern pueblos and had already been dated as precisely as if each piece was stamped with its year of manufacture. In this case, the date was AD 500, but this find was still more important for another reason. It meant that the Hohokam had trade relations with the North. Okay, so there were, deliberately constructed mounds with platforms on them, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, let's go to the next thing here. Okay, this refers to shells that they found with artwork on it in the digs, the archaeological digs that they were doing there. So let me read to you this. But to return to the shells, these were most astonishing, for they were ornamented with all sorts of motifs. Horned toads, snakes, as well as a wide variety of geometric designs. It proved possible to date them around AD 1000, but there remained the mystery of how the Indians had worked the brittle material. The figures and designs were not painted on the shells or scratched into them. They were in relief, slightly raised or incised. Some sort of etching process must have been involved, but here again the scientists were baffled. Could the desert have furnished any chemical suitable for etching? The only possible acid was the fermented juice of the fruit of the saguaro cactus. Could an Indian somehow have stumbled onto this property and turned it to use for creative, artistic purposes? If so, it would mean that this Indian had actually invented an entire process. He would have also had to find a substance which resisted the bite of the acid, and such a substance was available, resin or pitch. The Indian would have to had drawn his design on the shell with the pitch, then steep the shell in acid solution, whereupon the unprotected parts would be eaten away. After a while, the pitch would be carefully scraped off, and there would be an elegant decoration. Here undoubtedly was a genuine individual invention, maybe. The most amazing aspect of it is that this was, so far as we know, the first artistic use of the etching process in history. A Hohokam Indian invented it in AD 1000. That is to say, about 450 years before European armorers applied this process. More than 500 years before the German painter and graphic artist Albrecht Dürer, working in Nuremberg in 1515, made use of the method to enrich the potentialities for artistic expression. Okay, so they're saying that they invented it, but my feeling about it is that they already knew the process already, because they came from an advanced culture, and apparently one of these elongated skull people may have had that knowledge previously. All this knowledge could have come previously, the mound building, the etching, etc., etc. So here I'm going to go into another thing here. That's curious. Okay, this is on page 175. This people, so artistic in small things, were also creative on a large scale. We are referring to their system of canals, without which their extensive agriculture could not have been possible. Above all, their growing corn, and maize was the foundation upon which most of all North American cultures arose. This system of mile-long canals was created bit by the labor of innumerable generations. One canal, 3 miles long, dug by hand with the most primitive wooden and stone tools, could be dated back to the period before the birth of Christ, long before the Hohokam had begun their career as craftsmen. The canals had to be carefully adjusted to the lay of the land. How was this done without any optical surveying instruments? They had to be constantly supervised, changed, improved. Regulatory devices had to be installed, and this over a span of centuries. Okay, guys, so look, who's to say when the canals were actually built? That's a matter of conjecture. In fact, all of this is just a matter of interpretation here, but I don't know, but it seems to me that this is just evidence of either a previous advanced civilization, these people being the survivors of it, and having this advanced knowledge, because the Indian cultures, the Native American cultures after this, didn't employ any of these techniques for either building canals, etching, or mound building. That all was abandoned for some reason, similar to other sites around the world, like Egypt, for example, where construction actually got worse, not better, as time went on. So I'm just asking you to think about these things, okay? Because, it would seem to me that this is very strong evidence for previous advanced civilization, these elongated skull people, the Hohokam, the vanished peoples, or whatever it is that the Pika gave them the name of, um, could have been the survivors of an advanced civilization. And this evidence here, this archaeological evidence provided to us here from the early 20th century, the 20s and the 30s, seems to point in that direction. So I'm just, again, I'm going through this book bit by bit, and I'm taking the things out of there that seem to be pertinent to what our topics are here about previously advanced civilizations, the elongated skull, people who have natural elongated skulls, not artificially cranial deformation. So, again, guys, think about this. You're not going to get this watching YouTube and looking at pictures and all kind of stuff. This is real hardcore research, but, done from my own perspective, done from the alternative history perspective, and that's about it. That's all I wanted to bring to you tonight, this short video, and give you this information. And now you make of it what you want to make of it, and I think you probably will agree with me that this is very strong evidence for these people being survivors of a past, more advanced, advanced civilization. So, any case, guys, Budcat7 signing out. See you at the next video. Thanks a lot, guys. Good night.